Welcome to Family Bible Time. We are in Isaiah 62. Isaiah 62, we're also in Matthew 10. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for your word. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for giving us opportunity day after day to learn from you. Please teach us now. Please forgive us our sins. Please, Lord, cleanse us and prepare us to receive your word. Lord, plant your truth down deep in us. Shape and fashion us in your likeness, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not be quiet until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her salvation as a burning torch. The nations shall see your righteousness, and all the kings your glory, and you shall be called by a new name. Who's he talking to, by the way? Who is this you? That the mouth of the Lord will give. So the mouth of the Lord is going to give the new name. How are you going to decide who the you is? Just keep reading. You shall be, this is the same you shall be a crown of beauty in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of your God. You shall no more be termed forsaken, and your land shall no more be termed desolate, but you shall be called, my delight is in her. Who's he talking about? And your land married. For the Lord delights in you, there we are, and your land shall be married. For as a young man marries a young woman, so shall your sons marry you. And that would be kind of weird if it wasn't just a picture. And as a bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you. Sons and God both rejoicing over, both taking an interest in this you as if it were a bride. Now who's the you? On your walls, O Jerusalem. Aha! Who's he speaking to? Jerusalem. You say, well, that's weird. How can you speak to a city? Well, you can if you're a prophet speaking for God. On your walls, O Jerusalem, I have set watchmen all the day and all the night. They shall never be silent. You who put the Lord in remembrance, take no rest, and give him no rest until he establishes Jerusalem and makes it a praise in the earth. Now, is this all about just the city? Like empty city? No, of course not. It's about the city with the people in it. But the people of Jerusalem being the Jews. Anyway, the Lord has sworn by his right hand and by his mighty arm, I will not again give your grain to be food for your enemies, and foreigners shall not drink your wine, for which you have laboured. But those who garner it shall eat it, and praise the Lord, and those who gather it shall drink it in the courts of my sanctuary. Now, if you're just trying to look through history for a time when this happened, think it over. Oh yes, it never happened. This hasn't been fulfilled yet. This is one of the many unfulfilled prophecies in Isaiah, in the Old Testament, which give us hope and reason to hope that God is going to restore Jerusalem. It's not going to be, when we visited Jerusalem, do you remember the sound of all the mosques. And it was kind of creepy, wasn't it? It was kind of beautiful in its own way, but also kind of creepy when you realise what they're doing. And then you've got the sound of the Jews who don't know God, and yet they're out there singing and chanting and swinging around in circles and singing and dancing in their lostness. And it's just really, really tragic. The whole city is just tragedy, tragedy, tragedy at the moment, isn't it? Full of lostness, full of emptiness, but it's not going to be like that forever. Go through the gates, prepare the way for the people, build up at the highway, clear it of stones, lift up a signal over the peoples. Behold, the Lord has proclaimed to the end of the earth. Say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your salvation comes. Behold, his reward is with him. Who's he? Who's his talking about? He's talking about the salvation. So the salvation is going to be a person and his recompense before him. This made me think this morning when I was reading it of Simeon in the temple holding Jesus, the baby Jesus, in his arms and saying, now, Lord, you can let your servant depart in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation. Those same words, your salvation. The idea that Simeon had seen this baby boy and he saw in Jesus, this is God's salvation. Do you see that in verse 11? Say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your salvation comes. Behold, his reward is with him and his recompense before him. And verse 12, and they shall be called the holy people, the redeemed of the Lord, and you, who's you, Jerusalem, you shall be called sought out, a city not forsaken. Now, I love Jerusalem. But I love Jerusalem for what it's going to be. It's a city that fills me with feelings of pity and tragedy at the moment. I still love it, but I just feel this overwhelming sense of sadness for it. Because God has chosen Jerusalem. Have you reckoned with this? God has actually picked out the city of Jerusalem, not just to be a city, but to be a city at the heart of his kingdom. Remember, we've kind of pictured this, didn't we, in Revelation, that there's a city which is at the heart of the Antichrist's kingdom. It goes by the name Babylon, and Babylon the Great. And there's also a city at the heart of God's kingdom, and it's Jerusalem. And you say, well, where is Jerusalem now in terms of God's kingdom? Well, where is Babylon in terms of the Antichrist kingdom? But Jerusalem is going to be at the heart of the Messiah's kingdom once more. And Babylon will briefly be at the heart of the Antichrist's kingdom before it is finally destroyed. Babylon destroyed, Jerusalem what do you call it? Restored. Restored, yes. You shall be called a city, you shall be called sought out, a city not forsaken, re-inhabited by God. How about that? Okay, Matthew chapter 10. It's worth having a sip of this tea. Thank you for the tea, by the way. And he called to him his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every disease and every affliction. The names of the 12 apostles are these. First, Simon, who's called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Who betrayed who? Jesus, yes. These 12 Jesus sent out, instructing them, "Go nowhere among the Gentiles, and enter no town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and proclaim as you go, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast out demons. You received without paying, give without pay. Acquire no gold or silver, nor copper for your belts, no bag for your journey, nor 2 tunics, nor sandals, nor a staff, for the labourer deserves his food. And whatever town or village you enter, find out who is worthy in it, and stay there until you depart. As you enter the house, greet it, and if the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it is not worthy, let your peace return to you. And if anyone will not receive you or listen to your words, shake off the dust from your feet when you leave that house or town. Truly I say to you, it will be more bearable on the day of judgment for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah than for that town. Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they will deliver you over to courts and flog you in their synagogues, and you will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake, to bear witness before them and the Gentiles. When they deliver you over, do not be anxious how you are to speak or what you are to say, for what you are to say will be given you in that hour. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Brother will deliver brother over to death, and the father his child, and children will rise against parents and have them put to death. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. When they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for the disciple to be like his teacher and the servant like his master. If they've called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household? So have no fear of them. It's really weird, isn't it? I mean, Jesus just says, you're going to be terribly persecuted, and then he says, so have no fear of them. Why? For nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in the dark, say in the light, and what you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear him who can destroy both body and soul in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. But even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore you are of more value than many sparrows. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I also will acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I also will deny before my Father who is in heaven. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. The one who receives a prophet because he is a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And the one who receives a righteous person because he is a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And whoever gives one of these little ones even a cup of cold water because he's a disciple, truly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward. All right, what's the thrust of the... Okay, Jesus is calling the 12 and he's sending them out. And then he's warning them. He's telling them it's going to get really tough. And instead of saying, but don't worry, you'll be all right, he says you've got to be willing to lose your life. You've got to be willing to take up your cross and follow me. They're going to persecute you. They're going to drag you into the courts. They're going to think that they're doing God a favor when they put you to death. If they persecuted me, they're going to persecute you. They're going to say all kinds of terrible things about you. But actually, I've come to make this kind of division. Whoa, that's really serious, isn't it? Jesus has come to bring a sword, to make a distinction between those who are in the kingdom of God and those who are not. And it's even going to divide families. And you'd think, no, Jesus, you wouldn't ever divide a family, would you? Well, actually, yes. Jesus would save some people in a family and not others if they won't repent. And he would even allow members of a family to betray their Christian family members to death. Daughters, mothers, fathers, children. You just can't picture it, can you? But this is what Jesus said. And he said it. Why did he say it? To frighten people? No, he said it to warn people. He said it to say to people, look, this is how serious it is. You've got to be willing to take up your cross and follow me. And if you're not worthy to be my disciple. Well, that's serious, isn't it? How many real disciples are there? We don't know, do we? We know there's lots of fake ones who, when the sun rises and the seed on the rocky soil just withers. The sun being persecution. When some people feel this kind of persecution, they're just like, oh, I'm not following Jesus. I'm sticking with my family. I'm not going to lose my family for the sake of the Lord. Well, think about that. It's good to think about that in advance, isn't it? If you love father or mother more than Jesus, you're not worthy of him. If you love your children more than you love Jesus, you're not worthy of him. It's really serious, isn't it? So that's supposed to make you look at yourself. I mean, do you evaluate yourself from this? Do you say, look, okay, whatever the cost, Lord, I will follow you, whatever the cost. Can you picture yourself in the future? You've got children, and one of them is breaking your heart because they're not a Christian, but then they are going to betray you to death. That's a terrible thing to picture in your mind, isn't it? But would you be faithful? Would you say, no, I'm following Jesus no matter what? Can you picture it in your heart where can you picture the situation in churches where parents are betraying their children? I can picture that. It's going to get really tough, isn't it? We've just been through Revelation. You start thinking about how tough it's going to get. Not being able to buy or sell. Everybody's worshipping the Antichrist. They're worshipping the beast. Already, parents of trans children are being seen as the problem to be removed by the government. You can, I think, easily picture a situation where that process is accelerated and exaggerated and developed to the point where Christian parents are just seen as a bad thing for children in general and to be removed. But now just come back and just say, look, who are you following? This is the cost. It's really good to think through and count the cost. Are you willing to die for Jesus if necessary? He went to the cross to save you. Are you willing to suffer the worst that could ever happen to you if that's what the Lord would choose? Because that's the level of commitment that the Lord requires. Anything less than that is not real commitment, is it? Because Jesus is saying he's going to give you eternal life. He's saying he went to the cross to save you. He's saying that your sin deserves hell. Well, you can't kind of say, well, yes, I believe all of that, but, if it touches my family relationships, maybe I'll just change my mind about whether I believe all this or not. Well, then you don't really believe it, do you? That's the point. So this is one of those chapters that just crystallizes for us the reality of our faith. And then there's this lovely bit at the end where you get this reassurance that whatever you do, the tiniest thing, even a cup of cold water given to someone because they're his disciple, even that tiny little act of love and service will not fail to receive its reward. Jesus is watching. You give someone a cup of cold water because they're a disciple, Jesus is watching. He's going to make sure that's rewarded. That's incredible, isn't it? You receive someone because they are a servant of God. Well, that's watched. That's going to be rewarded. So, whom are you fearing? Jesus says, have no fear of them. But he says, rather fear him who can destroy both body and soul in hell. And then he says, fear not. Because, look, even the hairs of your head are numbered. Think about that. That's a lot, isn't it? Literally, God knows every single hair on your head. And you're of more value than many sparrows. God knows there's not a sparrow that falls to the ground and God doesn't know all about it. And yet you are worth more than many sparrows. God is watching you to care for you, to reward you, to carry you through these kinds of trials. But he's also watching to see whether you really believe or not. All right, let's pray. Father, thank you for your word. Please use it in our lives, and we pray that every single one of us, and everyone listening to this, would be found trusting you and following you on that day. We ask it for Jesus' sake. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we're done for today. God bless you. We'll be back, God willing. Same time, same place. to borrow. It's good here, isn't it?
See ya.